Now, properties of inequalities. As we mentioned earlier when we talk about properties of inequalities. Now, when we're talking about properties of inequalities, what are the properties? As I told you, what are the laws governing how to solve an inequality? Simple ways, most of the time, however we solve an equation, we solve an inequality the same way. Let's take a simple example. If you take an equation like this, you have, say, x plus 4 is equal to 7x plus 3. So what do? We transpose the numbers. We collect all the x terms together, which means you're subtracting or adding the number. So if you want to separate 7x from the 3, we have to look at what the sign is. It's plus. So we take it to this side and it becomes minus 7x. And here we take the 4 to the right hand side, is from the left hand side. So we write it as 3 minus 4. So we have x minus 7x minus 6x is equal to minus 1. Hence, now since minus 6 and x are multiplied, we need to separate them. So we divide both sides by minus 6. And this gets cancelled and you have x is 1 by 6. And an equation also has to be solved quite the same way. But there are a few variations when it comes to dealing with what is it that you're doing? Are you adding a number? Or are you subtracting a number? Are you dividing? If you're dividing, what kind of a number are you dividing it? Are you dividing it by a positive number or a negative number? Are you multiplying it by a positive number or a negative number? A few rules are changed. Of course, we'll understand why we get all these rules, of course. Well, now the same thing, we can do it in the form of an inequality. You can take x plus 4 is less than or equal to 7x plus 3. Right? And then you subtract x minus 7x and less than equal to 3 minus 4. And you have minus 6x is less than or equal to minus 4. So what would you do in this case? You'll do the same thing. X is less than or equal to minus 1 by 6. Now this is where you need to be careful, because here we are going to divide by a negative number. The moment the negative number, you are doing about a division by a negative number, immediately the inequality would change and become greater than minus 6. So hence this becomes x is greater than 1 by 6 and not x less than minus 1 by 6, minus 1 upon minus 6. Remember, I told you that for all practical purposes, solving an inequation, the basic rules are similar to that of an equation. But the moment you have this kind of a case wherein you are subtracting or you're dividing by a negative number, or even if you're multiplying by a negative number, you need to be a little more cautious over there. Now, these kind of cases we'll understand more when we take up the further properties of inequalities, how we can understand. Even something as simple as this, say for example, to understand this, we know very well that 2 is less than 3. We know very well 2 is less than 3. But when you multiply by minus 1, you have minus 2 and you have minus 3. What is happening now? You have multiplied both sides by a negative number, and it's common knowledge minus 2 is greater than minus 3. So whatever I told over here, or even if you divide by a negative number, you can divide 2 by minus 1, 3 also by minus 1. Again, you get minus 2 and minus 3. And the inequality has changed. Now, these are a few examples. These are the kind of things which we'll be taking care when we deal with the properties of inequalities. When we talk about the properties of inequalities, this one particular point is something we need to take care of when we solve the properties of inequalities. Right? Let's go into more details about the properties of inequalities further when we move ahead.